Hello everyone, I am Manas Srivastav and you are watching UPSC Essentials of the Indian Express. And now it's time for the case study of the week. Case studies are important topics for your UPSC preparation, especially when it comes to GS Paper 4 of Ethics. But case studies can also help in value enrichment of your answers in general studies, essay, and also impress the interview panel in your personality test. One such article which fits as a case study in your UPSC syllabus is an article written by Rinku Ghosh in the Indian Express. The title of the story or article is Why We Need Moms for Management Lessons. Dear aspirants, Rinku Ghosh talks to some very important women personalities of our society and brings out some very relevant issues. One such issue is how maternity is seen as a liability for women at workplaces and how important it is to realize and recognize women's economic potential. We shall now curate this story by Rinku Ghosh into our case study to suit our UPSC syllabus. Aspirants, this case study can be also relevant for women issues question in your general studies. We shall call it Breaking the Maternity Jinx at Workplace. Before going ahead, let's look at the case. Maternity is seen as a liability for women at workplace. If women have to take a leave or a break for taking care of the child, it is at the cost of her job, her promotion, or bigger projects. Remember the latest Tanish commercial where the woman quits her job to take care of a newborn child and then reapplies in a new job. The interviewer gets impressed with one of the answers of the women. She says that she took a break for a new startup, to give birth to a child and to take care of the child. She gets the job. But that's a TV commercial. What about reality? Dear aspirants, there is a very relevant study by the Genpec Center for Women's Leadership. There are certain points which you should make a note of. Firstly, 50% of women in India left their job to take care of their children at the age of 30. Secondly, many of those who returned to work had dropped out within 4 months of joining. The next point is, after becoming mothers, only 27% of women advance in their careers. And lastly, only 16% of women who return to employment after maternity advance to hold a senior position. Please note, this data is of pre-COVID era. So this was the case. Now let's listen to Rinku Ghosh, who tells us that why did she write this story.
The reason I did this story was because you see, for all the enabling policies that the government has for women empowerment, the fact of the matter is that we look at it always from a gender lens when we ought to look at it from the human resource and the growth perspective of the country. Women, who make up 50% of the population, are important growth drivers, and they form a very reliable workforce. So the idea is to harness their strengths and not confine them to gender realities. The idea is to bring them out of the gender lens and see them as a valuable human resource and as an economic asset which contributes to the country. Not only that, they are birthing a future workforce. So we have to look at women in the workforce from that perspective.
So this is what Rinku Ghosh has to say about her story. As I mentioned earlier, this story finds a very important place in your GS Paper 1 and 2 questions related to women issues. So now let's understand the issue. The issue here is women's economic potential versus the gender policy. Women should have stakeholdership in economy and should be considered as viable human resource. Now, let's look at the problems. Now, the first problem relates to the Maternity Benefit Amendment Act of 2017. Now, this act allows 26 weeks of paid leaves after childbirth. This looks to be a good intention, but only for big companies. What about the smaller companies, the MSMEs, the startups? In a post-COVID world, smaller companies like MSMEs and startups are facing cutthroat competitions. In this cutthroat competition, they are facing difficulties to allow paid leaves to mother despite good intentions. So, what is the easy way out? They hire men. Secondly, women in the unorganized sector don't stand to profit from the Maternity Benefit Amendment Act of 2017. This is an important point to note. The third point is often ignored, but it is very important. So, a woman who returns to work after a gap year due to maternity has to reconcile to reduce roles vis-a-vis male counterparts who have overtaken her space in her absence. For the fourth point, I would like to quote Ritu Diwan, who is the founder member of the Center for Gender Economics. Ritu Diwan says that in public organizations, the allocation for maternity schemes and creches have come down. These are some of the problems. Now let's look at these solutions. The first solution is to see motherhood in a different manner. There's a very interesting line in the story which I would like to read for you. It chisels women as a professional because it springs up to life force, empathy, collaboration, and dedication. It continues, women need inclusion and acknowledgement of their abilities, not sympathy for birthing a child. The article mentions another important line. It says that in fact maternity prepares a woman for the worst challenges and firms up their commitment. It is the fastest way to acquire skill. Secondly, there is a lesson from a food delivery company like Zomato. So the food delivery company Zomato has a unique support system. And what is that system? It assigns an employee to assist a new mother so that she is not required to be physically present at the job. Thirdly, there is a need to have a gap management structure where companies and organizations can build processes to handle maternity leaves. The fourth important suggestion is to give employers of small companies or MSMEs incentives to hire women in form of tax benefits, some schemes, or some additional benefits. The next point is that for true integration and inclusiveness of women at all levels, there needs to be an attitudinal shift and a reorientation of these government policies at the implementation level. It's time we do away with typical questions at hiring desk, such as, where do you plan to settle? And how many kids do you have? The next point is related to the Code of Social Security 2020. So the Code of Social Security 2020 promises that the central government will set up a fund for women in unorganized sector. Further, state governments will also set up and administer separate social security funds for unorganized sectors. So if implemented, it is seen as a very effective solution. The next point is also very important. Husbands need to be seen as partners. Team playing is important not only in professional space but also at home. And lastly, as mentioned by Ritu Diwan in the story of Rinku Ghosh, redefine maternity as a fundamental economic right because women are bringing the nation's future workforce. Look at women as a force of economic potential, as valuable, investable human resource. So this was the case study. Now let's go beyond the case and look how women in rural areas are organizing themselves as an important economic unit. The most important example are India's ASHA workers, who are among 6 recipients of the Global Health Leaders Award at World Health Assembly. A release from the World Health Organization says that ASHA, which means hope in Hindi, are more than 1 million female volunteers in India honored for a crucial role in linking the community with the health system to ensure those living in rural poverty can access primary healthcare service as shown throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Similar examples can be taken of women who are running self-help groups or cooperatives to prove their economic potential. Having said that, this is not enough. More has to be done. Now let's come to the last segment. If I were a civil servant. So, if you were a civil servant and you reach to a position of an advisory role, what suggestions would you give to help women in unorganized sector with respect to the maternity benefits? To read more about this story, go to the link below and read Rinku Ghosh's story or article in the Indian Express. Also visit our UPSC Case Study section to know more about this case study. Dear aspirant, UPSC Essential is an important initiative by Indian Express which will help you in your UPSC Civil Services examination journey through its various initiatives like historical tidbits, case study of the week, weekly news express, key terms of the week, etc. UPSC Key and UPSC Essentials are 2 initiatives which UPSC aspirants must make good use of. So subscribe to Indian Express for more such videos. Think smart, work hard, conquer your goal.